Welcome back to Oddie Tech. On the bench, Selmer Treble and bass. Old school, hand-wired, beautiful budget amps from the 60s and 70s. Let's take a quick look around her. Not original knobs, obviously, although I do like the Neve style knobs on this. Looks kind of cool. Bass channel, normal channel. The older stuff is looking a little bit tired, and the Tolex is threadbare and thin, but loads of character, loads of mojo. Let's have a look around the back. Fuses, we'll check what's in those in a second. I love it. 15 and 7.5 ohms, 16 and 8, whatever you want to call it. Serial number. Here is, well, it says here the tubes were manufactured in 92 PM, so these will be Chinese EL34s, and they were installed on the 25th of the 1st, 93. By this man who should be pixelated out. This man I know from way back because he was the only guy who serviced amps in the area. And let me just say, I will be blanking out his name. He's the reason why I've become an amp tech in later years, because of the things he's done to other amps. He is a butcher. Actually, you would see his handiwork in a previous vid of the Tweed Princeton. So yeah, that name shall be blanked out. I'm almost scared to go inside. Anyway, let's take this panel off. What do we have here? What's it? Got valve rectification, and it is, oh, beauty. Mother GZ34. Horrible, not the greatest of things, and these are looking pretty toasty and burnt. They've had a hard life. But, so definitely the valves, the original valves, it says 53 on here, and it's grade 53 up here. In the preamps, we've got, that's an Electro Harmonics. Brand Softec. Chinese Toriel AX7B, great for high gain, might not be the best tuber in here. And another Electro-Harmonics, 7025E. The wonders never cease. So, the engineer who completely butchered a priceless 50s Tweed Princeton takes a common garden perennial Selmer Treble and bass and doesn't touch the bloody thing. Granted, he's put in a ground lead, slightly tidier than his previous work, but everything else is original. Which is great, don't get me wrong, but why has he done this? Why has he done nothing to this and butchered a Tweed? Anyway, I digress. Let's concentrate on this amp. Problems. This is on at the moment, so I need to be a bit careful. I've been bringing it up on the Variac, and there's various issues we need to address. The originality. We've only got one screen grid resistor. We are going to put screen grids on both of these, because just for safety's sake, and you don't want any more damage to be caused to this amp should anything fail. The filter caps. We are going to change all of the electrolytics. Maybe not these ones. Diode, you see there in the middle of the screen, that's not original. He did change that clearly. There is no bias adjustment on this amp. I may make it adjustable. I may just bring it down so it sits in a happier place. So what have we done so far? So I've put in adjustable bias. So this is a 10k and this is a 25k. Because it had a 33k resistor in it before. This is up like this at the moment because I'm not sure I'm going to keep the 10k because I want to see how much adjustment I've got in that one at the moment. We've changed the bias capacitor. Currently in the process, this is a JJ capacitor which has 320s and a 40. They don't make a 316 capacitor anymore. I could not find one anywhere. So this is the nearest thing we had. I've had to make an extra hole for the clamp to actually fit on it, but yeah, the gappings are fine. I've got some new balancing resistors across the filters. I've got new ones, carbon comp ones, that look kind of vintage correct. Here, same rating. And these have actually drifted out a little bit, so they needed changing. There are also no input grid resistors either. I will probably put some on there just to stop any oscillation. So we're just changing everything that needs protection and just reliability side. Obviously not going to touch any of these yellow capacitors unless there is an issue. Other than that, that's pretty much all we're doing in here. Okay, new filter caps are all in, network all sorted, all as it was, the balancing resistors. Okay, so we're in for another rant on this video. I'm just sort of going over things, just having a look, see if there's anything else I can do while I'm here, because obviously, yeah, they're putting a grounded cable in here from the old days. Looking at this very long live cable here, coming straight in from the mains, brown, going to the mains fuse, coming out into the power switch. I just moved this cable and watch. 240 volts. And look, this is not me, I've not unsoldered it. Look. Let's have a look on here. Focus. Not a single blob of solder in that terminal at all. He never soldered this sodding mains cable. All right, thankfully it would be fused if it did touch the chassis. But this has been moved around, it's been shipped around. That could have just fallen out onto the chassis, bang. Actually, look at the quality of solder. I am going to redo this. This is just dog shit. Absolute hack. Complete hack. Frightening. This is why I became an amp tech. Okay, rewired the power switch. Look, I can pull on these now. Nothing's coming out. That's how it should be done, people. Not by the hack who had this before. Seriously. Ugh. Yeah, this is a bit more up to modern specs now. We've got screen grid resistors on both tubes, input grid stoppers. Said, don't worry about this wiring, it's not going to stay like that. This is just preliminary while I start to do the first switch on. So I'm going to power it up next on the Variac and without any output tubes, and then just check all my, bring the caps up, and then we'll check the voltages at the nodes, make sure all that's good, make sure we've got some bias supply. Then we'll go ahead and put some valves in again, bring it up slowly. Right, we're at about 190. Nodes are good. Let's plate 341. Okay. Bias is rapidly going up. Let's dial her way. Whoa. Okay, I'm going to have to adjust the bias circuit because that is now at minimum, and I've got 40 milliamps, and that's just not, that's not good. Right, cool. I know I need to change those values. Yeah, that's pulling way too much. So I've just tacked in this 33k resistor, which would have been, originally there were 39, it would have been a 39k in there, so I've got 33 plus the 25 of the pot, and I've got the pot maxed out, so should have minimal bias. So on the 39k, what did I have on there before? I had a 10k, so I was actually, with the pot maxed out, was at kind of its original spec. You can see it was putting way too much bias, so this thing was running super hot all the time. So it's amazing those tubes lasted as long as they did. Right, so let's bring it on up. Starting to see some bias, flux capacitor fluxing. Now already the bias is fairly stable now. It's not going up past 10, which is great stuff. Let's Let's see where she sits when we give her the beans. 239 volts. We've got 483 on the plate. 22 milliamps of bias. I've got it maxed settings so we can dial it in now. I'm going to let that sit right where it is right now before we dial in a bit more bias. Resolder that resistor in to be a bit neater and a bit tidier. What quite pleased as well, because it's kind of a vintage looking style resistor as well. So okay, all done. Little recap. So okay, I've sprayed all the pots out. I've deoxed valve sockets, retensioned them. Pots clean. So we've installed our new adjustable bias circuit. Amps bias to 35 milliamps. Just under 70% dissipation, about 67%. New smoothing caps, fixed the horrendous wiring on this power switch. Screen grid resistors, grid stoppers. There are little filter caps in there. Pair of Electrohonics EL34s. Bargain, hand-wired vintage amps. They just need a bit of care and attention just to bring them up to spec and just make them last a bit longer. But yeah, all cool components, what you'd have found in Marshalls of the period and stuff. Cool little amps. Shall we hear it? Yes. Use your story. Guitar into Helix, out of Helix send, into amplifier, out of amplifier, into reactive load, then back into the Helix, into my computer. So what have we got running? We have got an impulse response of Celestion's Alnico Golds, mic'd with a 121 and a 421 in a 2x12 cabinet. These are Celestion's own IRs. Thanks for that. And this is what we've got. We're going into the bass channel. In the bass channel, you've got to have the treble all the way up, otherwise it gets pretty dark. And the bass control is about, let's go 12 o'clock. Volume, about 11 o'clock. This amp into a cab in the room, again, big, clean, bouncy, JTM 45-ish kind of voxes. There's no negative feedback on these, so it's a bit of a voxy, unruly vibe to it, which is kind of cool. You can hear she's just breaking up just on the edges of, oh yeah. Using my Gretsch Electromatic, made in Korea. I've got this now strung with 12s with a wound G. A bit Malcolm, you might say. Got it tuned down today. This is the British garage rock amp, if you want to get something old vintage and a bit gnarly. Let's just crank it so you can hear what this thing does. Back the bass off because it's good. So this is the normal channel cranked up. On this one you have to have the bass
all the way up and then play with the treble because it's a bright channel. What this is really great for though is running pedals into it. It'll just swallow them up whole and become part of the amp. So what I'm going to do on the Helix, I'm going to throw in just some classic pedals. First off, we'll start with is the Rat. That's a pretty cool desert rock. I really like that. That sounds killer. Let's try it with the Alpaca Rouge, which I... Red Lama? Yeah, Alpaca. Let's try the RangeMaster. I'm not going to do too much playing today. This amp, it's not a high gain monster, it's not designed for that. We could have modded this to hell, but talking to the client, he's got plenty of amps, loads of cool high gain amps. And I thought this time, why not, let's restore this to something how it should be when it was originally left the factory. Let's get it working as it was originally intended. And he needed a different amp in the collection, and this does that weird kind of Marshall thing and Voxy thing, and it's really for getting something different. And it'll take anything you throw it at it. And I know I only did 3 facsimiles of popular pedals, but it kind of comes out with something unexpected and different, and I think that's what this amp's a good thing to buy for. If you want something just a bit different from the usual run of Plexis, Fenders, all those sort of things, I really enjoy it. I think it's a cool little amp, a cool little thing to have in the arsenal. I mean, if you wanted to build a hand-wired Marshall-style circuit, or any kind of vintage amp really, these are a bargain. You can still pick them up fairly cheaply, and as you saw inside, it's pretty much the way they were always made, and you could turn this into pretty much any circuit you wanted really. It's got good transformers, it's pretty well laid out, and for not much money. So what I'll do, you didn't hear anything with my normal IRs, so what I'll do, I'll throw on the EVH 412 and you can hear it through that, just as a sort of a baseline comparison. If you made it this far, please click like, please click subscribe, click the bell notification icon. We're really close to the 1,000. It'd be nice to get over the 1,000 before Christmas. But thanks for all the people watching, and I hope you enjoy this, and I will see you on the next one. So I'll play you out on the EVH 412.
Bye.